Every day, without thinking, we take thousands of breaths, inhale, exhale. A cycle so familiar, so constant, we rarely question it. Most people don't realize it, but the way they breathe is shaping their mental and emotional reality every second of every day. It is not neutral. It is not automatic in the sense that it's beyond our influence. It is the gateway to power or the pathway to chaos. The moment you begin to breathe through your mouth, especially in a shallow, rapid pattern, you're sending an ancient signal to the nervous system, the signal of danger. You might be sitting safely in a chair, scrolling on your phone, or lying in bed, but your nervous system doesn't know that. It only knows what you tell it through your breath. End-mouth breathing is a command to the brain: prepare for stress, brace for attack, flood the bloodstream with cortisol, raise the heart rate, and dull the prefrontal cortex, the seat of your reason, logic, and calm. This is not just physiology. This is spiritual warfare through biology. The mouth was given to speak truth, to feed life, but not to breathe in the rhythm of panic. The nose is the design of intention. When you breathe through the nose, you activate the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. This is the system that governs rest, recovery, focus, healing, and balance. Nasal breathing tells the brain that the world is safe, that it can engage the higher faculties of thought and intention. Air that enters through the nose is filtered, warmed, and pressurized, preparing it not only for the lungs, but for the mind. It engages deeper areas of the brainstem and signals to the body that we are in control. This is how warriors remain still in the storm. This is how prophets hear the whisper in the whirlwind. This is how we take dominion over chaos not through force, but through breath. The mouth is for emergencies, the nose is for life. You were never meant to go through your day with your jaw slack and your breath high in your chest. That is not life. It is survival. It is the nervous system locked in an unending loop of reaction and fear. But the moment you begin to reclaim your breath, the moment you close your mouth and draw the air through your nose, slowly, deeply, intentionally, you activate the biology of peace. You're not just managing stress. You're commanding the nervous system like a conductor commands an orchestra. Every breath through the nose is a step back into alignment with the original design, a realignment of the brain with its highest functions. You don't need a pill. You don't need a screen. You need to remember the breath that was given to you from the beginning, the one that brought life into clay, the one that sustains thought, action, presence, and power. Breathing from the diaphragm is not just a physical act. It is a neurological weapon. Shallow chest breathing keeps you trapped in survival mode, while deep diaphragmatic breathing shifts control back to the part of your brain responsible for discipline, clarity, and command. This kind of breathing, slow and deep, doesn't just oxygenate the blood, it recalibrates the entire system. The diaphragm is wired directly to the vagus nerve, which governs a powerful network of pathways running from the brainstem down into your body, touching the heart, lungs, and gut. When you breathe deeply, you are pulling a lever that quiets the chaos, silences the noise, and activates the inner throne room of regulation and order. Stress is not the enemy. It's the unmanaged stress that turns into chronic destruction. And unmanaged stress is often the result of unmanaged breath. But when you inhale slowly from the belly with your ribs expanding like armor, you begin to take command of cortisol. Cortisol is not evil. It is necessary in moments of battle. But when it's elevated day and night, when the body is saturated with the chemical of alertness, your sleep breaks, your memory shatters, and your mood becomes volatile. Deep breathing from the diaphragm signals safety. It tells the hypothalamus to stand down, to release its grip on fear, to allow the body to begin repair. This is not passive relaxation. This is strategic control of the inner realm. Your breath is the tool heaven placed in your chest for moments of war and for seasons of growth. When you breathe low and slow, deeply and intentionally, you pull yourself out of the ancient circuitry of fight or flight and step into the higher architecture of thought, vision, and patience. This is not New Age wishfulness. This is real, mapped, measured neuroscience. Functional MRI scans show it. Hormonal blood panels confirm it. Electroencephalograms record it. When the diaphragm moves rhythmically, the brain enters coherence. The scattered waves become smooth, the fear-driven impulses quiet, the clarity returns. This is why monks breathe in caves and soldiers breathe before battle. This is why stillness is not weakness. This is why a single breath can be more powerful than 1,000 reactions. The diaphragm is not just a muscle, it is a command center. When you engage it, you're not just breathing, you're building neurological resilience. You are fortifying the pathways of mental toughness, grit, and calm under pressure. You are activating a system that lets you face the fire without letting the fire get inside of you. You are turning on the circuitry of the overcomer, the one who walks through the valley but does not become it. This is the breath of warriors, of sages, of leaders. This is the breath of someone who remembers that their biology is not the master, but the servant of a greater will. The breath is not just a mechanical process. It is a direct interface with the most powerful part of the human brain, the prefrontal cortex. This region, located just behind the forehead, governs everything that separates you from the animal: focus, decision, making, impulse control, and vision for the future. But most people walk around with this part of their brain dimmed, distracted, and hijacked because their breath is chaotic, shallow, reactive. The brain listens to the body, and when the body is out of rhythm, the brain follows. When you breathe unconsciously, without intention or order, you send noise into the system, and the prefrontal cortex shuts down under the weight of constant background stress. But the moment you take authority over your breath, the moment you slow it, deepen it, and bring it under conscious control, you reawaken that part of the brain that was meant to rule. Neuroscience has shown us that breathing patterns can shift brainwave activity in real time. When you breathe with rhythm, your brain synchronizes with that rhythm. When you inhale sharply and exhale in panic, the amygdala takes the throne, fear becomes king. But when you lengthen the breath, the brain receives the signal: we are safe, we are stable, we are in command. And the prefrontal cortex steps forward. It is in this space that self-control is born, that habits are shaped, that purpose becomes clear. This is not theory, this is not philosophy. This is the measurable response of neurons and synapses, circuits and chemistry aligning to the breath of awareness. Every single breath is an opportunity to either reinforce chaos or install order. The power to transform your mental state does not begin with a break. Through thought, it begins with a breath that clears the path for thought to take root. You cannot access higher logic when your brain is flooded with signals of danger. You cannot focus when your breathing pattern says survive. But when you learn to master the cadence of your breath, you begin to take hold of the lever that directs blood flow to the frontal lobes, that sharpens your perception, that strengthens your ability to delay gratification, to make strategic decisions, to see beyond the moment. This is the biology of leadership. This is the anatomy of discipline. In a world full of distractions, the breath is a weapon of singularity. In a world addicted to reaction, the breath is a pathway to dominion. And in a brain wired for fear, the breath is the light that reactivates courage, patience, and clarity. This is not meditation. This is not escapism. This is the neurological reclaiming of your divine faculties, of your God-given ability to choose your response in the fire. And it begins not with a word, not with a thought, but with a breath pulled from the depths of the body and delivered to the seat of the mind. There is a moment when the body is overwhelmed, when the heart races, the mind floods, and the nervous system is spiraling out of control. In that moment, your brain is searching for an off switch, something ancient, something encoded deep within the structure of your biology. That switch is the physiological sigh. It's not new. It's not trendy. It's wired into your design by forces greater than your will. 2 sharp inhales through the nose, followed by a slow, extended exhale through the mouth. This simple pattern sends a powerful, immediate signal to your brainstem: regulate, reset, return. It is one of the fastest tools science has discovered to calm the nervous system in real time. It's not breathwork as a ritual. It's breathwork as rescue. And it doesn't take 5 minutes or 5 hours. It works in seconds. That second inhale reinflates the alveoli in the lungs, opening up airways that have collapsed under stress. The extended exhale releases carbon dioxide with precision, bringing your blood chemistry back into balance. But more than that, it engages the parasympathetic nervous system like a key turning in a lock. You feel it, the shoulders drop, the heartbeat slows, the mind clears. This is not a coping mechanism, this is command. When you practice the physiological sigh, you're not escaping stress, you're taking the reins of it. You're standing in the storm with the authority of someone who knows how the storm works. You're not the victim of adrenaline, you're the regulator of adrenaline. You're not at the mercy of your state, you are the architect of your state. This is not just for monks. This is not just for scientists. This is for warriors, for students, for mothers, for leaders, for anyone who refuses to be enslaved by emotional chaos. The physiological sigh is one of the clearest examples of how breath speaks the language of the brain. You don't have to think your way into calm. You don't have to talk yourself out of fear. You bypass the verbal mind. You speak straight to the nervous system with breath as your vocabulary, and the body listens, it obeys. Because it remembers. This is the breath pattern you used as a child when you sobbed and gasped and exhaled your grief. This is the breath you used when you felt safe again after fear. It is hardwired into your system by a designer who gave you not only the trials of life, but the tools to master them. When you feel like you are drowning in stress, you don't need to run. You need to breathe like you were created to breathe. Not from fear, but from knowledge, from order, from power. When you lengthen the exhale, something miraculous happens not just in the lungs, but in the heart, the brain, and the entire nervous system. It is not simply a calming technique. It is a neurological intervention. Long, deliberate exhalations stretch the boundaries of what the body perceives as safety. They activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the system of restoration, regulation, and resilience. And through this activation, a sacred rhythm is restored inside of you. Heart rate variability begins to rise. Heart rate variability, or HRV, is not just a medical metric. It is a reflection of how adaptable your system truly is. It reveals how quickly you can shift from chaos to order, from threat to presence, from reaction to response. A high HRV means your nervous system is flexible, responsive, strong under pressure. A low HRV signals a life lived in constant defense, rigid, reactive, and drained. And what science has now proven is that one of the most effective ways to raise HRV is to extend your exhale. That's right, not a supplement, not a machine, a breath, a slow, intentional breath out of the body that tells every cell, we are not under attack, we are in alignment. This kind of breathing does more than soothe the mind. It retrains the nervous system. It builds spiritual and mental armor. It is an act of surrender that brings strength. When you deliberately elongate the breath out, you are resisting the pull of panic. You are confronting the quickness of fear and replacing it with rhythm. You are rewriting the electrical script of your internal world. And over time, with consistency, your baseline begins to change. What used to trigger you no longer owns you. What once overwhelmed now simply passes through. This is the power of an exhale. It is not passive, it is not weak. It is a declaration, and there's more. That long breath out slows the heart, quiets the mind, and increases access to higher brain regions like the prefrontal cortex, the throne of intention, judgment, and discernment. You are no longer living out of reflex. You are now living out of choice, and it was not a drug, not a breakthrough. Just breathe, just the ancient breath given to you from the beginning, now understood through the lens of science and returned to the altar of discipline. You have been given a tool that speaks to the deepest circuits of your biology, one that doesn't need technology or technique. Just awareness, just faithfulness, just breathe. Because the exhale is not the end, it is the making of space. Space for wisdom, space for peace, space for presence. Breathing is not just about getting air into the lungs. It is a direct method of altering your state of mind, and the secret lies in cadence. The timing between inhale and exhale is a code, a language your nervous system understands instantly. Breathe in longer than you breathe out, and you ignite alertness, readiness, even intensity. Flip it, breathe out longer than you breathe in, and you signal the system to calm, to downshift, to enter recovery. This isn't guesswork, it's not philosophy, it's biology written in the structure of your brain and body. You have the ability to shift your internal state without touching a single external thing, just by adjusting the rhythm of your breath. This is control, not in the false sense of trying to dominate the world around you, but in the true sense of mastering the world within you. When you need energy, focus, and drive, you inhale for a longer count than you exhale. 4 seconds in, 2 seconds out. That pattern sends signals through the phrenic nerve to wake the system. It primes the brainstem. It lifts your heart rate. It sharpens your senses. It tells the body, rise, move, engage. This is a breath pattern of the builder, of the focused, of the person ready to step forward. But when you need peace, stillness, recovery, when the day has drained you and the noise is loud, you reverse the cadence. You inhale for 4, but exhale for 6 or 8 or 10, and in that extended release, the heart slows, the blood pressure drops, the thoughts settle. The cadence is no longer an expression of your emotions. It becomes the command center for them. You are not waiting to feel different. You are breathing your way into a new state. This is the closest thing we have to a dial on human experience. Too anxious, extend the exhale. Too tired or sluggish, emphasize the inhale. No meditation necessary. No environment has to change. You become the change. You move from being a passenger in your biology to being the pilot. You begin to rewire the reflexes built by fear, fatigue, and distraction, with breath, with cadence, with consistency. And once you begin to understand this, once you experience it, not just read it, not just believe it, but feel the shift in your body when the cadence changes, you realize the truth. That the breath is not just air, it is access. That God didn't just give you lungs to live, He gave you lungs to lead. To take dominion over the body, over the fear, over the frenzy, you are not breathless, you are not powerless. You were created with a rhythm that can be reclaimed, one breath at a time.